And there we have it. Hashtag terrible teacher, 61.
Yep.
Martin, 57. Ken, 52. And Sarah, thank you for playing. All right. So I don't want to put you on the spot because it's your first stream, but thoughts on the game. Just open it up to everybody. Go ahead. Okay, I like it better at 4 players than I do 3. I think it is far more compelling as a 4-player game than on a 3-player game.
Yes.
We built almost every building, if not every building, in our 3-player game. So it wasn't lack of building, but the buying of land, I thought, was a dimension that really didn't really materialize in a 3-player game. Whereas in this, I found that really compelling.
Yep.
And I thought that was a cool level that we just didn't see in our previous play.
Some of it, I think, has to do with the 4-player setup where the middle is empty.
Yeah.
So you're sort of competing for the side spots, and there's stuff that is just clearly more valuable.
Yep.
Whereas in the 3-player, where you're just kind of all going this direction,
Right.
There's like that sense of value is not this. It's not the same.
And you play on the same side of the board, the 3 to 5 player board, which is this.
Interesting. Yeah.
And whereas the other side, we'll flip it over if you all remind me when we're all done to look at how it differs. Because I'll be honest, I haven't looked at the 2-player. I'm sure people out there would be interested, but yeah, I liked about 95% of this game.
Yeah. It's tight.
It is. And again, because 3, 4, and 5, the number of worker placement spots doesn't change except for
5
animals.
players. Well, five players, you only have 3 workers each.
There is that also.
So that would change it.
So that's 15 versus 16.
Yikes.
Yeah.
It's
that
only
would
one difference.
It's only
I don't
one
think
worker
a big
different,
difference.
right?
It's not as noticeable as with 3 players where you've got a lot more
Yep.
freedom on the spaces.
Yeah. Yeah, so tighter worker placement spots for sure. I think because of the way the animal slaughtering works at the higher player count, this is just tougher. The market is tougher.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's hard to have a situation where you're not underwater on at least one margin by the mid game.
Right.
And then the question is whether you've got yourself high enough on another one that it doesn't really matter. And I mean, that was a difference maker. That's the reason you and Martin finished in first and second. You guys were both high enough on beef and pork.
Do you think that's because we played well, or do you think that's because of just the way the building happened to go? And
no,
all
I think.
of that?
I mean, I think it definitely.
And again, it's not like, ooh,
Yeah.
look at me. You feel like that's player agency.
Mm-hmm, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the thematic quality of this
Yes.
game.
Yeah.
The theme really drives everything. It makes everything kind of easy to understand because you can kind of know what everything's going to do because it all makes logical thematic sense. It's not as, I think, as intense or as deeply strategic as Caelus or Agricola, when it comes to worker placement games. But where I feel it kind of competes more is at the medium weight end of the scale. So my go-to game in that area is Viticulture, which also has a strong thematic quality, which makes the game a lot easier to follow and go through. The interesting difference between this and Viticulture is Viticulture's got a lot of randomness from the card draws, and this has very little randomness.
Yes.
Just really the order in which the cards come out and which years you happen to get.
Right.
But that's universal.
And now
too,
those are
right?
universal things,
Right.
so they're not affecting you individually. So if you want a
ways
game
to mitigate against it too.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a game that has the kind of the weight and the thematic quality of a Viticulture, but with a lot less randomness, this is definitely the game, providing the theme doesn't put you off.
Yep.
And I think I really like it. It's easy to teach. It's the theme works well for it, and there's a reasonable amount going on.
No one dies in viticulture, though.
Well, no one dies here unless you're
We died in the Spanish flu.
Well, okay, there's that. Good point. There's
Yeah.
that.
The question
And-
is whether at 3-player it's just a bit too loose, and who knows what it's like at 5, because you haven't got any scaling of the worker placement spots, which you have inherently got in. Well, viticulture has it built into the rules, and it's inherently part of Caelus because of the fact that you're putting out the spots as you're going.
Right.
So that it naturally scales the game for worker placement spots, and that's where the question mark lies here. I think 4 worked really well, but 3 definitely felt too loose.
Yeah, I was a little worried when we played this the first time that I was like, it didn't feel as compelling as I feel like it does now at 4 players. 4 players, this thing sings. I think it does really, really well. I do wonder if 5-player makes it tighter in a good way or too tight. I don't know. Like going last, I guarantee campaigning probably plays a bigger part. Which now that I think about it, and this is, I don't want to speculate too far down this path having not played it 5 players, but if you're late in turn order, do you even get a chance to campaign? Like, I don't know how big of a deal turn order is in that regard, because if you're 4th and 5th, do you get a chance to campaign? Like, are people sniping it early in the first, the first time around? But on the flip side of it, and this is one of the things that I don't know where I fall on this. The fact that you can't manipulate prices or availability or anything.
Not by yourself.
Within a round. It's a static board statement.
Participate in price manipulation. You just can't do it by yourself. You need help. Yeah.
Yes, but what I meant was...
Oh, you can't change it in the round.
Right.
I see what you're
saying. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. Right? I don't know where I fall on this. But when it's like that, hell, even if it were like this with the pigs,
Yep.
everybody's going to get to go there. So there's no rush to do it.
Right.
There is literally no incentive to go there early unless you are desperate for money because, hey, maybe I can build something that raises my value here early.
But we obviously saw a situation early in the game where we could have shut you out.
Yes. Now, when there aren't enough, then that comes into play, and that is a compelling thing.
Yeah.
But when it's not, when there's a surplus, the fact that you can't manipulate the price within a round, again, I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
Yeah.
I'm just making an observation on it. And I like the building aspect. I like the tug of war for land spots. The only kind of real negative I have is there in the last round, the last couple of turns felt very min-maxy, and there's nothing, like, you run out of things you can do. That, I could do this or I could do this. That's that. But I feel like those are minor critiques. The theme comes through extraordinarily well. And again, if you're a vegan, maybe this isn't the game for you. But it's historical, right? This is akin to a Votes for Women or something along the lines of that, to where it's telling the historic story of how this went. Maybe to a lesser degree, I guess. But
I mean, none of us protagonists here are the good guys in this particular
fair. Yeah, okay, fair. That is a fair point.
So we're definitely
It's still
dirty
fascinating,
capitalists.
though.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
I learned stuff about it.
Yeah.
About the history of this that I didn't know. The production is solid.
Oh yeah. It's a really nice production. It's a loving production. Like,
It
you
is.
can tell that, like, this is like an active
love.
Yeah, love.
The design, Dwayne, he has a PhD in, I think it's the equivalent of animal husbandry. Like, there are universities that, or,
Yeah.
Like an
right.
agriculture PhD.
Yeah. I read on his bio on BGG that it's not called animal husbandry, it's called something else. And Jess was like, I think that's the equivalent of it. And I was like, oh, okay. So clearly comes about it from a, he lives it.
Yep.
This is his life's work. So yeah, that's awesome.
I kind of agree with Raymond there. I like
we
this.
like kind of chuck too many. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, that's okay. I agree with you, Martin. That I like that there's not a lot of luck that comes into this. It's tight in a very kind of mathy way, and I like that.
Yeah.
And, oh no, please.
No, I need another play.
Yeah, yeah. Now that and to
Yeah.
be fair, so we foisted this upon Sarah, because she was only available a couple days this week, and I wanted to be able to get her on stream, and I thought you'd be able to handle this no problem coming in cold, and yeah, so yeah, I think so. So Raymond says this is incredible. I've gone from knowing nothing about a game to shut up and take my money. That I've never gone that fast in my life. Instabide, can't wait to play it. And again, that's from the designer of City of the Big Shoulders. So, meat, animal, science, and statistics. Thank you, trying to be bored. That's meat, animal, science, and statistics. So, and I was like, what?
I mean, I see that how the intersection comes together.
Yes,
You're in the game.
it does. Yeah, Jowser says Raymond. Raymond knows this. Raymond and I are friends, but Jowser says Raymond, this is an awful channel to watch for board gamers' wallets because of how good they make games look. Sorry, and you're welcome.
Yeah.
Jess, hi Jess. Excellent stream, excellent example of what a live teach and playthrough can do for folks deciding on what games to add to their collection. Can't wait to play this one. Will it be around at HeavyCon? Yes, it will, because it's our copy. So yes, it'll be there. And I'm curious for y'all to try it at 5 because I want to hear about it. I want to see how it goes. Yeah, so overall.
I want to point out a couple of mechanical things that I really enjoyed. One was the way this market worked, with the up and go and from the cost going up and down as you were pushing up. I mean, at first blush, it looks like temple tracks, but it isn't because of this manipulation up and down. This is kind of like a temple track, although it does have a significant effect with you bumping your things up, which makes it more interesting than that.
And to be clear, I would argue the thing against it being a quote-unquote temple track is these are directly related to the exact thing that you're trying to do.
Exactly.
It is not tangentially connected. It is directly connected. Right?
So just so this is closer to a temple track. These are not, because of that movement of the prices, the things that can go up and down, it just makes the whole plotting out of your market moves and thinking what's going to happen next round if the market goes up and down in the various ways becomes really quite interesting.
This is the selling point of the game, and it works really well.
I think the other mechanical thing I really liked was this whole thing about buying land over here. And I've not seen this before, where you choose to buy or not buy land, and then depending on where you buy land, as we began to see, you can actually get some money off it in the longer term or not. You can choose just to go straight away and spend more money, or that makes the placement of things. There was a little bit of this in Kuntahora, where you had to reserve a spot before you could put something on it. But this is way better than what Kuntahora did, I think.
Right. A lot of flexibility.
This is really interesting, and I could imagine this as we play more. Interesting things going on in this, and we saw it in our game. I don't think it was just because of 4-player, although that was a factor. I think it was also because it was our second game, so we were beginning to think about how the buying land was going to have an effect.
Right. Yeah, because I just slapped that down right here because that's where I was going to go first. But there's so much more strategy to where you could place that to better use it. So.
Yeah,
and to use it again is liquidity, right? It's future liquidity, but it is there.
I mean, early on, it sort of makes sense as a slingshot to your ability to build.
Right, you need to be able to build on your own land.
But as people get the ability to have a little bit more money, have the ability to sort of build more places, using it speculatively, pretty interesting.
Agreed.
I also think, Ken, that we proved out that a collaboration doesn't really work well.
That's true. Yeah, I think we did sort of play nicely, but one of the things I think it shows is that maybe like branch houses are a secondary thing, not something you can really focus on and win.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I got scared. I'll be honest. Like when y'all were doing this, I was like, I feel like y'all are going to really start pulling away. And in hindsight, maybe it wasn't as important.
Big a deal.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I feel like. I got those 5 out there, but that did not compensate for not doing that.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, thematically, it also makes sense. right? You got to you got to be able to have your product and your brand reputation in a good enough spot to where then this is, like you said, a secondary thing, right?
Yeah. So this is the thing that's interesting about the game, and I wonder if they landed here after playtesting. Do you notice that the cattle and the pig markets are exactly symmetrical? They're exactly the same.
What do you mean?
I mean that the breaks for 1 cow versus 2 cows versus 3 cows and the pricing are the same.
Oh, I get. Oh, yeah, 14 versus 4 because but they are identical.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I wonder, like, it seems like maybe they might have made it asymmetrical at some point, but maybe, like, if there were like multi-dollar jumps in the cow market or something like that, it might have made this
too strong.
Too strong. I will definitely say, as somebody who played at the top of the sheep market, it is a little. I think it's a little. I did the pig thing last time.
Right.
I did better. I think sheep's a little weaker than the other two.
And to be clear,
and the rule book calls it out.
It does call it out, right? Like there is a hint. Well, because I joked about this before we played it Saturday or whenever it was we played this, and there's a little thing of hints right here, and I said, "Do you want me to read it?" And they were like, "Yeah." Basically, it says, "Don't make branches if you're not going to capitalize from these." There are probably fewer sheep available. In other words, this is the least important of them all. And remember, you can only slaughter once per each, so make sure you're doing it for the right reasons and like so on and so forth.
Yeah,
I think that all that makes sense.
it does. Yeah, definitely better on a second play.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I totally agree. The other thing, somebody asked, where was it? A little while ago. Let me see. Sorry. Oh, that was it. Trying to be bored said, I only got to play this once. My group thought it was a round or two too short. However, they thought that the length was one of the main selling points. It didn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah.
So where do y'all feel? Where do you fall on that? And Sarah, with it being your first play, lengthwise, what do you think?
No, I thought it was good, especially because right at the end we were running out of things to do. It felt kind of just right, and it's not, it would get to the table more often.
Yeah. Because that extra round adds another 20 minutes, 30 minutes to it, whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, lengthwise, it's nice. It's not too long. I mean, we played that 3-player game in just over an hour.
Yeah.
And this here, it was longer because we're streaming, but you can easily crack this in definitely under 2 hours.
Yeah. Easy. I think so. So, all right, awesome. Anything else? Cool.
You were gonna flip the board over.
Oh, good call. Thank you. All right, and he wanted to know. Apparently something about the Morris founders. Do they mention anything on that?
Nelson Morris lived from 1838 to 1907. Nelson Morris was born Moritz Beisinger into a Jewish family that raised cattle in Germany. He was sent to live with his uncle in the USA at the age of 10. At 15, he began working as a coal miner, then on a canal boat, and later on a lake ship. He eventually became a cattle trader in a stockyard in Chicago, where he enjoyed much success due to skills learned from watching his father in Germany. Starting his own meatpacking business, he landed a lucrative contract with the Union Army during the Civil War. By the 1880s, Morris and Company had over 60 buildings and 3,700 employees, slaughtering over 20,000 animals daily.
Good Lord. Whoa. All right, that's where it ends. So no, to answer your question. So now, Raymond, in a comment, unless you're able to get it done before we talk about this, I want to know what that is. So this is the 2-player side. Obviously, there's fewer worker placement spots there. There's only one branch house.
Yep. Town is a lot smaller.
It's a lot smaller.
Yeah.
But otherwise, again,
I think those
sheep is 1, and cattle and pigs again are 1 or 2, and that's it.
Sense. Yeah.
All right.
It does make you wonder whether the game would be improved by different boards for the different player counts based on our experience in 3. But I don't know. Playtesting would
sure.
I was playing it once or twice.
Yeah. So, and that's where it was. So, all right.
Yeah.
Awesome. There you go. Cool. Appreciate it. You want to ask the people?
Oh yes. So unfortunately, when you slaughter cattle and pigs and sheep, they don't have any funds, and we need funds. So please like and subscribe. Give us your funds.
What he said. Yeah. Consider supporting the show. Patreon.com/HCHQ helps keep the lights on. Certainly appreciate it. Raymond says, if I recall correctly, he ended up going overseas and his company got sold out from under him. His partners ended up stealing it from him.
Oh.
Nasty.
Spoken
All right.
like somebody who's done a lot of research on industrial Chicago at the turn of the century.
Yeah, weird. All right. So, hey, thanks. We have 6 streams, 5 days. So tomorrow, join me. I'm doing Oburo solo. And Wednesday, we have a double header. We have a 2-headed solo of Inventions. Then we have Age of Steam. We have Colonial Twilight on Friday for the patrons. And Thursday, Dungeon Pets. So a lot of good stuff coming. So y'all check it out. I'm Edward.
Ken?
Sarah.
Martin.
All right. Welcome aboard. Hopefully you had a good time.
I
all right?
did. It was good.
Y'all have a good night. We'll see y'all later. Take care, everybody. Quick question for y'all. What does a nosy pepper do? Gets a jalapeno business. Come for the videos. Stay for more videos or something. Like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps. Consider supporting us over on Patreon and enjoy other videos. Take care, y'all.